what I'd love to spend some time doing is talking about our future, because that's really what it's all about. But I went around and I think I met most everybody last night, because I went table to table and I said, you know, if you got the old guy in front of you, what is it you'd want him to say? And what I heard was how and why. So I'm going to try and tell you that. I mean, how did we get here, and kind of why? And I loved all the words that everyone picked. Wow, how can one organization be all that? I don't know. Okay, so I was an entrepreneur. That's all I was, just an entrepreneur, and I'm out growing businesses. Did one out of Boston, Massachusetts. We sold that to the Hewlett-Packard Company. Did one in Houston called Paranet. Sold that one to Sprint. The beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur is if you create a bunch of value, when you sell it, you monetize it, and it changes your life in a pretty big way. And so the first thing I did was start another organization, because that's what entrepreneurs do. And it's called the Holthouse Foundation for Kids. You know, if you're going to start a foundation, you got to kind of decide what's important to you. Are we going to hug the trees? Are we going to save the whales? Are we going to feed the homeless? There's 1,000 things, but I believe that we've got a whole bunch of at-risk youth in the world that it's just flat out not their fault. They're growing up in an environment that sadly is not conducive to building happy, healthy, contributing members of our world, and so wanted to figure out how we were going to fix that. So I started the Holthouse Foundation for Kids, and again, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not a teacher. Well, what do I know about teaching at-risk kids? About this much. So I went on a year-long learning journey where I made lists of all of the programs that were focused on at-risk youth that were renowned for having great impact and changing lives. And my question would be the same kind of questions you had. How did you do that? Why did you do that? What is it that's magic about your program that helps these kids? And I took copious notes. And I learned a whole bunch of things out of that year-long that I never expected to learn. But Debbie kind of touched on a few things and that I want to share with you, because Lemonade Day is fun and it's experiential, but the thought processes that went behind why we're doing what we're doing is so founded in education and how you change kids' lives. It's pretty important. So there's really two kinds of learning. There's academic, reading, writing, math, science, all the things that we teach in school. But the most important of all of the learning, Debbie, is all the stuff our parents are supposed to teach us. Okay? It's discipline, it's honesty, it's hard work, it's integrity, it is having a view of the future. It is, 1,000 different things, and we don't touch on that in schools. And sadly, there's way too many families that don't touch on that at home either. All right, so where are they going to learn it? Well, there's a number of things. So it really boils down to life skills and character. So those are the things that we had for the Holthouse Foundation for Kids. That's really what we were going to focus on. So we started another organization called Prepared for Life. And what Prepare for Life did was after-school programs full of life skills, character, and it was focused at middle schools. Now, that middle school environment is really the keys to the kingdom. You know, you get kids, they're growing up, they get into middle school, and their brains start changing in really material ways. They go from cause, effect, input, output kind of thinking into much more abstract thinking. And even if we screwed them up in the first part of life, when you get into middle school, they can begin thinking in new and unique ways that allow them to rise above what they were doing before. And so we did all kinds of fun programs full of lessons around character and life skills, and that went really, really well. And it was through this journey that I met a guy, Peter, with the Search Institute. And they have spent hundreds of thousands of hours researching kids and what makes them special and what makes them at risk. You know, we throw around the term at risk all the time. Well, what does that mean? Well, they have this list called the 40 developmental assets. And there are 40 different measurements that they do around what's going on with them. Are they in a neighborhood that's going to be helpful or hurtful? Are their parents constructive or destructive? I mean, there's all of these pieces. Some of them are just inherent inside of them. Some are outside and environmental. And so we took our learning and we really started looking at what could we do to affect every single one of those 40 developmental assets. We have a video, and I don't know if you've ever seen it. Peter is unfortunately not with us anymore, but he had seen tens of thousands of communities and programs and worked with them and all of that. And he did a video for us, asked if he could do a video. And the essence of what he says is that Lemonade Day is the single most important program he has ever seen in all of his years, because it truly does affect every aspect of the 40 developmental assets for kids. He didn't say that lightly, and that's pretty darn cool. Now, why am I dwelling on this? I'm dwelling on this because, yes, it's fun, experiential, it's all the things that you said it was, but it also has life-changing impact for the kids. And of course, that's why all of us are here. And so I wanted you to know that this isn't just a fly-by-night operation. So I have a precocious little daughter by the name of Lissa. Lissa absolutely loves animals. I mean, it's insane. From lizards to cats to dogs. She's got like 4 dogs, fish, birds, all this kind of stuff. One afternoon, she comes to me and says, "Dad, I want a turtle." A turtle. Lissa, what do you want a turtle for? She says, "You know, they're so cute and cuddly." I said, "Lissa, you pet a turtle, they become a rock." "What do you want a turtle for?" "No, we're not getting you a turtle." "Dad, can I have a turtle?" "No, you can't have a turtle." "Dad, let's have a turtle." An hour later, "Dad, I want a turtle. A turtle, you know, it's just wearing me out."
"Lissa, we're not getting a turtle."
Don't bring it up to me again. Done. Great. So Lisa and I have a gala that we're going to that night. Didn't see Lissa through the evening. Go to bed kind of in the wee hours of the morning. Bright and sunshiny at 6 a.m., Lissa comes bounding into the bedroom. Daddy, Daddy, let's do a lemonade stand. 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm going, wow, a lemonade stand. Sounds really great, but I'm not sure I can do that. I said, Lissa, I'll tell you what, go and make a sign for your lemonade stand and come back when you're done. Now, I have every expectation I'm sleeping in until noon because she's never going to get this done. And 30 minutes later, she comes back with this sign. Now, I think this is actually pretty good, and this is the actual artifact, and so I hang on to this and will for the rest of my life. But so we go down in the kitchen. Best we had was powdered lemonade, and we get the ice and the coolers and a tent and, you know, all this kind of stuff. Load it up on a golf cart and drive it out to, for those of you who are familiar with Houston, we went on Memorial Drive, okay, and set up our lemonade stand, put our little sign up there, and the car, and we're standing there, crickets. Dad, why aren't they stopping? Well, I'd just come back from my learning journey, and I'm really smart about this kind of stuff. And so I said, I don't know, Lissa, what do you think? She says, well, maybe they can't see our sign. I said, well, okay, let's change it to a place where they can see our sign. So we put it out a little bit further so people could react. And lo and behold, people start stopping. So we're now 30 minutes into this. We got a line of cars coming in, and 30 minutes into it, Lissa is holding up this wad of money in her hand, all fanned out like she's Dad, look how much money I've made. Well, that's when I explained to Lissa the difference between revenue and profit. You thought that I would have shot her. All of a sudden, she's, well, what do you mean I have to pay you back for all the lemonade? And you're really going to charge me for using the golf cart and the capital equipment of the corporations? I didn't have the heart to tell her about taxation yet. So we just kind of left that one out of the conversation. But it was amazing. You see, the thing I hadn't connected was that Lissa wants a turtle. So she's thinking, if I can make my own money, I can have the turtle. No, and Lissa doesn't want just the turtle. No, she wants the turtle pond, with the little palm tree and, the whole setup. So I'm kind of figuring this out along the way, and so she starts asking questions, and we have this extraordinary father-daughter, mentor-child kind of conversation about all kinds of stuff around business. And by the end of the day, we're back on the kitchen table with a big chief tablet and a crayon doing a balance sheet on the day. And she actually made enough money to buy a turtle. I had just come back from a bunch of learning journeys and all of this stuff. And this was an epiphany for me. That there's really something to this. So I went to a meeting with a bunch of chamber folks next week, and we were talking about things that we could do in the city that would be impactful around this kind of topic. And it came to my turn, and I said, what we ought to do is blah, 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 blah. And 3 minutes later, lemonade day poured out of my mouth. Well, it's a God thing. I mean, that was placed with me. And we kind of been running ever since. So entrepreneurship, how much more time do I have, Debbie? I don't want to over 5 more minutes. Okay, good. Fun, experiential. We started spreading the word. We put together a team, did a TED Talk that turned out to kind of go, back then there wasn't viral, but if there was a viral, it would have been. We came up with a city model, and we have been growing like crazy. I'm very proud of what you all are doing. It's a beautiful thing that Lemonade Day lives on, and we have great, great opportunity in front of us. America has never needed Lemonade Day more. I'm not going to dwell on there's 1,000 things we could talk about of what's going on in our schools, what's going on in our homes, what's happening within our nation. Very, very confusing time. But I want to say a couple things. Why is it everyone in the world, even today, wants to live in the United States? We're far from perfect, but if you were going to put a phrase around it, it's called the American dream. That in this place, you get to decide what you want to become, what you want out of life, what rules you're going to play by. And there's enough limited government, and there's enough people around that are willing to help and support you that you can start a business, you can start a nonprofit, you can sit on your butt, you can do whatever it is that you want to do, but nowhere else in the world can say that. We can't lose that as a nation. This is so vital to the future of our country, and therefore, in some meaningful ways, to the world, that Lemonade Day, we're doing important stuff. If we don't teach our kids to be the next generation entrepreneurs, we won't have any. And sadly, it's not happening nearly as often as it needs to. So this whole American dream is really, really important. And I'm so thankful that you all agree and are here with your time, your treasures, your talents, and helping us all collectively take this thing and make it bigger and better and all the above.